Okay, so part of this is you have to be real. So I have in the previous interviews, hand on heart, can't be fake. You have to be real. You're going to be real?
Yeah, I'll be real. As long as you don't ask me questions, which is going to get me in trouble.
Okay, promise. Think these were. Okay, and your homework was to describe yourself in one word.
I went for honest, probably more so from coaching. Pretty bit of a straight shooter with our players, and I think that just crosses over because obviously it's hard to be someone that you're not in coaching for a long period of time. So I think that's something that I am. Yeah,
absolutely. I'll second that for sure. Let's get into it. All right, Kelvin Wright, you are a premiership winning Broncos coach in the NRLW. You're going into your third season as the coach, but you've coached the Kiwi Ferns, you've coached the junior Kiwis, you've been an assistant coach for the men. You've been around a long time. What is it most rewarding about coaching these women's Broncos sides?
I think one of the most rewarding things is, especially in the women's, you get players that haven't played much, so a lot of them don't have a background in rugby league. So you can players can go from not being in the game or being very new to the game to playing at an elite level very quickly. So you get to see players succeed, I suppose, a lot in a short period of time, and that's really rewarding when you see players, I suppose, achieving great things in the game. And if you've had a small part to do with that or helped along the way, that's very rewarding as well. And individually and then ultimately as a team, when you see how much effort and work they put in on the field and at training, and it's obviously very satisfying when you see them come together and do it, and the camaraderie and how much they care for each other, and then to get the success with that it's great to see the players enjoying themselves and succeeding.
Is that a big part of why you coach the women? Because a lot of people would say, why the women's game? You've proven yourself that you could coach at a higher level in the men's. So why are you putting so much time and effort into coaching what is at the moment only a 6-week competition?
Yeah, I mean, it is something I probably fell into a little bit, and it's just I was fortunate to get an opportunity at the Broncos when I came to Australia, and I don't know, there's just a connection with the players and with the club, and there's just something special about the group and sort of the culture that's there. And I suppose I've just got a lot of time for the people involved and staff and players, and I just I feel committed to them and loyal to them, and so I want to make sure I give my best to that group of people. So and I really enjoy coaching it, so it's good fun, and that's just where I am at the moment. So yeah.
Do you feel like you've reached one of your career highlights? Like, where does this rate in terms of what you've done in your career?
For me, there's a few things. Like, obviously, whenever you get to coach, represent your country. So, like, when I was involved with New Zealand teams, that's always very rewarding and something that you grow up wanting to do from when you're younger. I can't say I thought about this when I was a young kid. It's not something I expected to be doing. So, but for me right now, this is the most fun that I've had in the game. And again, it's probably just that connection with the playing group that's there, and obviously all the new players that come into it. But it is the most fun. I'd love it if it went a lot longer. But that's just where it's at the moment. So right now, winning the premierships is, for me, probably sits at the top of the tree especially from an enjoyment factor. And like, people can say there's only been 4 teams, it's only been 4 rounds, but that's sort of besides the point. I mean, you can say the same about a World Cup. That's only one competition that's based over a few games. So you can only beat who's put in front of you. So the enjoyment factor and satisfaction of winning is still there. So it rates very highly.
I like it. I like it a lot. Talking about premierships, so Paul Dyer took the first one as coach for the Brisbane Broncos. You coached the women to the next two. You're the hunted coming into this fourth season. I can't believe we're talking about a fourth NRLW season. But how do you keep the women mentally fit? Because I think that could be one of the biggest parts coming into this competition is not getting complacent. You've dropped one game, I think, in the last 3 years.
It's a big focus. Once we come into a new season, we sort of take our learnings, and there's lots obviously we can build on because we've got a cool group of players. So we don't want to lose what we do well. But at the same time, because there's such a big turnover of players each year, you're talking 50% of players every season that are new to the team. So that team, and the same again this year, that team hasn't won anything. So we make sure we really address that, that we start again. And we've got to readdress and make sure the standards are met, make sure we make any changes that are necessary. But we don't talk about 3 peaks or 4 or anything like that. It's just about this season and generally just game to game. So, it's funny you say too, like you might think we're the hunted, whereas I'll turn it around and say we're the hunter. So,
I like it.
Yeah. So that's something that, that we sort of, I suppose, just talk about, we run through different themes and different all the time as well. Just, have a bit of fun with it to make sure everyone's engaged. And we don't want to sit back and wait for everyone to come after us. We also want to be going after them.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've held a lot of the core group together. When you look at the competition, we haven't seen all the teams finalised. We don't even know if it's 110% confirmed it's going to go ahead the week of the grand final. Let's hope it does. Who's the smokey?
Of all the other teams? To be fair, I don't really care, to be honest, but I would say Newcastle.
That is such a winning coach's answer. I like it. That's good. Okay, Newcastle though, if you have to pick one.
Yeah, I think I've got a lot of time for Blake, and I've had a lot of communication with him as well, coming into the competition. So I'm sure he'll do a great job, and I know he's got some really talented players there as well.
What about a smokey in your team?
Oh, like a breakout player?
Don't hold back. I want to know.
I'm sure there'll be a couple of players that we haven't announced yet. Like if we want to go outside the box, so player that no one, like not one of the players, I suppose that's part of that core group. Who have we got? Just trying to think outside.
Trying not to spill any secrets. That's what you're doing. Come on.
There's a couple of players I'm really looking forward to watching. Look, Caitlin Phillips is someone that's come up that played a little bit off the bench last year for the Roosters. She's based now in the southeast Queensland, and I really like her attributes. She's very quick. So I'm really looking forward to her getting to play behind the likes of Millie Ball and Chelsea Lenarduzzi and these other players, rather than her be sort of, I suppose, have to get that go forward.
Okay.
She's someone I'm really looking forward to watching. I've watched her play, and she's been part of the Indigenous team for a couple of years, and she's experienced in NRLW, but really looking forward to I suppose seeing Caitlin Phillips play and to see what she can do.
New face up there. All right,
yeah.
Cool. Caitlin Phillips, I'll write that one down. It's always interesting. I'll take you away from Brisbane Broncos and just in your coaching career more broadly. Who's been the most talented player you've coached?
Do you want to stick to women's rugby league?
It can be any player.
Look, the person that probably most excites me watching them play, I would say.
Did you coach them?
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. like, I'll give you two, because I think male and female. In the females game, the most exciting person for me is Tamika Upton.
Mm-hmm.
She, I think every time she gets the ball, something great could happen. And I think, she's a once in a generation sort of player that's, and we sort of forget that she's still very new to the game as well. So really exciting what, not only what she's done, but what she can carry on doing. But coming through, just some of the players in younger grades like that I coached, I really enjoyed coaching Isaiah Papali'i, who's obviously now at Parramatta Eels. So he's someone, I suppose, I had him when he first came to rugby league as a 17-year-old, and for a couple of seasons there, and he was floating back and forth, but he made an immediate impact, and his attitude and dedication and just who he is as a person is, you could tell he was going to be a very successful, I suppose, rugby player or league player, no matter which one he chose, from an early age, with the way he trained and his commitment and dedication to what he did. So I'm really pleased to see him going so well now.
So did you coach him NYC at Warriors?
Correct. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. It's great to see him having such a good season, isn't it?
Oh, it's awesome. Like,
yeah,
it's he really hit the ground running when he first entered the Warriors era as a sort of 18, 19-year-old. And then, I know he had a couple of little small injuries, but he just sort of, I suppose, plateaued a bit. And now to see him kick off again, it's really good. He's an exciting player, and, he's a great person.
Yeah. I reckon he's become like a fan favourite too at Parramatta. Okay, women's game more broadly. If you were in charge, if you were Mr. Volandis or Andrew Abdo, what's the one thing you'd like to see improve in the women's game? Is it, more money? Is it better coaching? Is it a longer competition? What first comes to your mind?
First comes to my mind is more games. Obviously that comes with more money and all the rest of it, but I think the money's has to sit to the side. To me, it's more games, giving the players the more they can be involved at a higher level, then I suppose the greater the game's going to get, and the more players we can get involved at a higher level with coaching, getting them around the better players. We'll bring more players up to a higher standard. I'd really like to see it kind of sit as a standalone competition without the going through the preseason and club, and players can be involved in 4 different teams throughout a season. So I'd like to see a longer competition where they can dedicate a full preseason and they can play for a longer period of time.
Do you think realistically, actually not realistically, let's pretend we're dreaming, would it be a 12-week competition that's completely separate, or are you talking 20 rounds, all clubs?
Look, I don't think we've got the players at the moment to go all clubs. Yeah. But if we can get to double figures, I think that would be really good in terms of teams. If you play 10 teams and possibly, I suppose, down the track 2 rounds, but look, I'd think between 12 and 16 games. That's just off the top of my head. It's not something I've thought too much about, but I'd think between 12 and 16 games, and look, as the opposite as well, probably shifting it all to the start of the year so that all the players can actually do a full pre-season at a NRLW level. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But I know there's obviously a lot that goes on behind the scenes for those decisions to be made.
Yeah, look, and you're not dissing it at all. It's one of those things that does take a little bit of time. I would personally love to push that and accelerate it a little bit faster, but patience is key. In terms of the state of origin, you were coaching the under-18s Queensland side this year. For the women's open side, how much do we need it to be a 3 or 2 game series, or do you like that it's just one game at the moment?
I don't know. It isn't something I've sort of thought about at the moment. For myself, I probably think I don't think it needs to go to 3 games just yet. I suppose there's a few reasons behind that, but I think the big one is like the camps, the lead-up camps. Like that's, like the players take obviously a lot of time off. So do they then go into camps for longer periods of time? But I also think at the moment we're still restricted on who can be selected for those teams. So before we go to that, I'd probably like to see a bigger player pool of players that can be selected. Down the track, and I probably think for now like one game's enough. Just for the next like couple of years, and then maybe have a look at 2 games or 3 games down the track.
Okay.
I don't think we always have to compare it to the men's. Like it might be like maybe they do Origin twice in a year, but not like back to back. Maybe you get to play it, but then you like at the start after club season, you play again after NRLW. I don't know. I'm just saying it doesn't have to be played consecutively. Maybe.
No, that's a good plan.
That would definitely give the teams that, I suppose, the team that doesn't win maybe a chance to go back and reassess. If there's another competition, you might then see some different players that maybe haven't been noticed before, but playing at NRLW, and they come forward and they get their chance to play. So I don't know. It's just I think we don't necessarily have to follow the male model.
Yeah, that's true, because we play Origin so early. We haven't even started. What a lot of people don't understand is the NRLW hasn't even started. You're playing your state competitions and doesn't give enough opportunity for probably player depth to prove themselves before you go into have camps. Queensland are in camp for about 2 weeks. New South Wales were a week, and then you play the game, and girls don't have the annual leave.
No, exactly. And look, I'm a big fan of probably putting it after. I know it depends. Again, it depends on the calendar year of how it all works. But
you're back.
I'm not sure what happened there.
No, that's all good. That's fine.
No. I'm probably a big fan of putting, those games maybe after NRLW. But I mean, let's not forget, I am a Kiwi, so I'm probably not one that should be commenting on State of Origin too much.
Oh, you're basically Australian now. How long have you been here?
Nearly 3 years.
Nearly 3. That goes quick. Okay. Now to finish, because I'm pretty sure you thought that I wasn't going to ask about you away from rugby league, but firstly, who is Kelvin as a coach? And then I want to know who's Kelvin away from the footy field.
As a coach, I suppose you probably best to ask the players that. They're the
what do you pride yourself on? Like when you're putting together a season, and what do you want to be as a coach?
Really pride myself on like preparation and sort of the detail and in the games. Big fan of, I suppose, skill acquisition and teaching, making sure players become better, like really like improve their skill sets and learn the game. A lot of video, a lot of skill acquisition, and sort of really understanding what it takes to win football games. So really big on making sure that players understand they've got to, I suppose, there's a sacrifice to pay if you want to have success. So really big on that, and just preparation, and obviously creating a good culture, selecting good people to be part of your teams.
Selecting good people. Is that really important to make sure that the personalities match rather than oppose?
I would say it's extremely important that you select good people, and also to the point that I'll look at different playing qualities of a second row to make sure they complement, your Allies and your Tarrans, to make sure that their playing abilities and their playing styles complement each other as well. Yeah. So, personalities very important. got to make sure you talk to players, and real team first approach as well. So that's vitally important, what they want to get out of playing with the Broncos or as well.
Yeah, love it. And who's Kelvin away from the footy field when you're not spending your whole entire life training and coaching?
Look, I'm probably pretty quiet. Obviously, since I've been here, now and again I'll attempt to try and surf. I'm awful, but I enjoy still being out in the water. And yeah, I just I suppose pretty relaxed. Just enjoy doing the basic things, just being down the beach, or going out for dinner and stuff. And then obviously I spend as much time when I can with my daughter Ruby. So yeah, she's currently in New Zealand at the moment, but we have a very close relationship and we spend a lot of time together.
Yeah, love it. There you go. It wasn't bad. See, I wasn't too intrusive.
No, you weren't. Not too controversial.
And now people know more about a premiership winning Brisbane Broncos coach, and I appreciate you always giving me the time of day. So thanks, Kelvin.
No, thanks, Katie. You do obviously a fantastic job for the game, and especially for women's rugby league.